What's going on YouTube? Quentin here from DoubleEdge Games, and we are getting down with a game. This franchise is near and dear to my heart. We're actually getting down with Tekken 7. I've literally grown up on every single Tekken game I've played. So this game, I've been really anxious to play. I'm not gonna lie. I would like to see how the turnout between father and son is gonna play out, because one will prevail. Now, even though I kind of did just gas this game up a little bit, I'm just going to let you know, trust me, I am not afraid to criticize games that I actually really enjoy. Like, for an example, this spamming ass nigga Eddie has been spamming ever since Tekken 3. And can we just explain, how does Yoshimitsu go from being a shinobi, stealing, kind of like a Robin Hood type character, to a fucking Squidbilly in this game? And, bro, don't even get me started on fucking Giganig, whatever his name is. Okay, sorry, that was just a little nitpicking. Had to get that out. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started with the review. So we are now seeing the conclusion to the Mishima family beef between father and son, and this one's actually going to take place directly after the King of Iron Fist Tournament 6. That's when Jin took over after he won the King of Iron Fist Tournament 5, and he had control of Mishima Zaibatsu, and that's right when he fought Azazel, or Aziz. Well, fuck him. We don't give a fuck about him. So after that fight, that's when Jin just poofs and vanishes, and that's when that old fart Heihachi crawl up out of his hole, just like it's time to slide in them DMs, boy. And he ends up having control of the Mishima Zaibatsu, and then he announces the King of Iron Fist Tournament 7 just to lure his son out, just so they can put a clear end to the beef. Now, long story short, this game is just trying to sum up why the two are even fighting in the first place, because if you have paid attention to the lore in the past games, you would just know Heihachi just threw his son off a fucking cliff for reasons unknown, and somehow Kazuya lived through it, had a lot of injuries, and he's just like, fuck you, dad, I'm about to fuck you up now. And ever since then, it's just been a tug of war. Heihachi throws him into a volcano the next game, and then when Kazuya comes back, he tries to throw him off something else, and then it's just been a tug of war of just throwing each other off fucking cliffs. So this game is just going to put an end to all of that, and actually going to shed some light on what's been going on and why they're even fighting in the first place. Honestly, with the story is no slouch in this game. The stories have always been strong in the Tekken series, and it's actually very entertaining to see the final battle, and also how the fuck Akuma fits into the story, because they actually wanted to show off Kazumi, which is Kazuya's mother, because she's never really been talked about in much of the games. But nonetheless, the story was actually straight to the point. Just wish maybe it was a tad bit longer this time. It did feel like it was on the short end. Other than that, it was very straight to the point. It actually summed up the history gap of Kazumi. I can't even say her name. Kazuya. Oh my god. Honestly, with my gripe on just how short the story was, it summed up a big gap in history with his mother, Kazumi, so I really honestly can't complain. So for the gameplay, Tekken is back and actually has some new changes, besides the same sound effects since Tekken 3. So on top of more than half of the roster having new moves added to their arsenal, they actually added in rage art. So when you actually go into rage mode, you have these over-the-top super moves that can be done right when your health reaches in the reddish area, so you're able to pull off these moves. So if you're getting fucked in the game and you go in rage mode, you can do extra damage, you do damn near double damage, and you have this crazy over-the-top super. So if you want to pull off a nasty combo and turn the fight around, you can actually do that in this game. So when it comes to the changes, honestly, there isn't that much, but Tekken has always had crisp fighting mechanics, and it's just been smooth ever since the beginning. So honestly, besides the sidestepping being maybe a tad bit slower, just a movement feeling a tad bit slower, it's still a solid game. And just one more thing, that netcode on PC was straight trash. So now I'd like to get into the positives and negatives of what I personally enjoyed about Tekken 7. And right off the bat, the graphics in this game are crisp and clean. The visuals just look just absolutely stunning. And I will have to say the mechanics are still there from the classic Tekken series, and the character roster is pretty hefty. I'm liking the character size, and hopefully they're not going to do too much DLC characters, which I know they're going to have some planned into the future. And of course those raised arts are just so, they just get you hype, man. They just look so dang cool. Let's go. And lastly, I'm just happy they finally ended a beef between father and son. This beef has been going on for a long time. People don't understand the gap within Tekken's storyline is that in Tekken 1 and 2, because he was like 26, 27 years old, and in Tekken 4, he's like 49. That's a long time. Now, we're going to actually switch gears and get into the negatives, and I'm not going to hold back. One thing, it's kind of nitpicking, like I said, it's just some of the way these characters look. Like Yoshimitsu, come on, man. And then on top of that, Akuma is still busted as shit. I do not like him being in Tekken at all, because the fact that this man has Hadokens, and it's not like Claudio, he spams the fuck out of those, bro. No, I know a lot of people say, oh, well, you can just sidestep the Hadokens. Yeah, true, and it is a little easy when you're doing that, but when you're playing and fighting Shin Akuma, at the end of the game, when he spams them and has infinite EX meter, it's ridiculous. And he is the only one that gets an EX meter because he's from Street Fighter. Akuma is a little busted. And lastly, just overall, the fact that that story was really on the short side. I wish it was a little bit longer, but like I said, it filled in a lot of gaps, so I really can't complain too much. So if I was to rate Tekken, I would definitely give it a solid 8 out of 10. It's Tekken with some minor changes. And some of the new characters, I'm not going to lie, some of them aren't really too inspiring just to get me to use them more. There are some that are cool, like I do like Josie, even though she's kind of like a reskin of Bruce, but she fights a little bit different. She's pretty cool. And then Claudio is alright when he's not a spamming ass bitch. And of course, you got to definitely get a Man Akuma a try. He's still busted as fuck. But other than that, the game is still a crisp fighting game as usual. I do have the gripes of the story, like I wish that shit was longer. And then what the fuck y'all doing with this man Yoshimitsu? Leave him alone. But other than that, the game is still a crisp fighting game. I'm enjoying it. So if you guys would like to pick up Tekken 7, I would definitely recommend it. It's about $10 cheaper than the usual $60 price tag. But other than that, that's all I got to say about Tekken. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, if you have any ideas for any reviews you would like for me to do on a game, if you want to hear my feedback, leave it in the comments down below, and I always reply to comments, so you guys can definitely chop it up with me down there. This is Quinn from DoubleEdge Games, and peace out.